Hello, everybody. This is Di, anti-natalist, and this particular hospital is very, very close to my house, and I have not been there in years. After COVID, they used to have the best salad bar, and and it was so inexpensive, and they had snacks, and even their sodas were less expensive. Now look at that, there's a pride flag. That's very interesting. Yeah, the child-free people need a flag because we need to be acknowledged. We need to be acknowledged through marketing and through flag bearing and in any way possible, because we are consumers, and the child-free often have expendable income. But back to my story. So went to the cafeteria, and it was very disappointing. All of the self-serve items, the soups and the sandwich area were packaged in yet more plastic containers and styrofoam and whatnot. And they actually closed early between lunch and dinner, so I kind of missed out on my excursion here. The other disappointing thing was that the cafe that used to make like fresh sandwiches, and they also had soups and just kind of a different variety of items, they closed at 12:30. They used to be open till 4. So COVID is like still affecting so many things. So I got my salad, and it was very, very disappointing because I missed out on so many things. But I was watching people come in and out, and some of them were patients, and some of them were workers and staff and doctors and nurses and technicians, and some of them were just guests like me who possibly just walked in, or possibly somebody who was visiting a person in the hospital getting an operation or something of that nature. So I noticed a woman, I guess a woman late 70s, and the daughter was around my age. I'm assuming it's her daughter. So the woman sitting down eating had a wheelchair next to her, and the daughter later came after she ate to wheel her away. Now, most people, when they reproduce, they are not thinking of the future. They're not thinking of the future of themselves, and they are not thinking of the future of their child. This woman, she looked like she might have even had a breathing disorder. Might have been even like a lifelong smoker. She could kind of fit those characteristics. And she looked not happy. She looked sad. She looked depressed. She looked miserable, in fact. But people that have children often think that their children are going to take care of them. But people are living into their 80s and 90s and even later. So if you're living to your 80s and 90s and later, that means your children are going to be 60s, 70s, and old. They are going to have their own needs, their own surgeries, their own complications. They're going to need their own wheelchair, so to speak. You may be actually healthier than your child. If you're 80, you might have a 60-year-old, or if you're 80 and you had a child like at 40, if you had a child at say 40, your children were going to be older nowadays because people used to have children earlier. And so, later. People used to have, I'm messing up on this video. My mind is like distracted. So people used to have children earlier. So people are, younger than when their parents are older. I'm not making any sense today, am I? But okay, I'm going to clarify this. People, like in my day, had a shorter distance between their parents. Like my mom was around 20 when she had me. Nowadays, people are having children at 30 and 35 and even 40. So if you were to have a child at 40 today, when you were 60, they're going to be only 20 years old. And so, you know, a 20-year-old is not going to be able financially to, you know, care for an aging parent, nor are they going to be willing to sacrifice their youth in order to take care of your old age, in respect that you did not save up for your later years. Your children could move out of state. They could be in the military. Your children could be disabled. Your children could be dead. Your children, you know, may not even care for you. You know, if you didn't respect your children, or if you didn't save for their future, well, they're certainly not going to be there for your future. So, the purpose of this video is to say that, people, when they have children, they are not thinking about anybody's future. They first should be thinking of their own futures, because if they think that they're going to have somebody to take care of them in their own age, they need to think again. That's usually not the case. Most people in nursing homes are parents. They have always been parents, people. I used to work in nursing homes in 1979, and it really dissuaded me from thinking I would wanted to be a nurse. But everybody was a parent, everybody. And their children did not come see them. And the people in nursing homes always complained that the children weren't coming to see them, or the grandchildren. And I've even overheard somebody in a doctor's office, and the grandmother said, well, I would love to, you know how to work, how to use my cell phone. And this woman was at least 80 years old. And she said, but I have grandsons, and my grandsons are just too busy to show me anything. So folks, that's probably going to be your luck when it comes to having children and grandchildren. They're not going to be around for you. They don't want to deal with you. They're living their own lives. They have their girlfriends and boyfriends, their spouses, their hobbies, their jobs, their vacations, their pets. So, you know, it's just disgusting that parents do not think a thing about anybody's future, their own or their own children's. Their own children are eventually going to be using canes, using wheelchairs, or bedridden, actually. So, you know, just because you were born a baby doesn't mean that you're going to stay a baby. And you're certainly not going to stay 16. You're not going to stay 20. You're not going to stay 30 or 40 or 50. So parents, when you have children, you are actually inflicting life's eventual hardships on your child. Your little baby is going to be that old person on a ventilator in a wheelchair that feels angry, disappointed, upset, miserable, and depressed. So think again if you want to have a child.